Welcome to Higher Light Commands. What you're about to experience is 33 channeled commands to reclaim total sovereignty over your life, mind, body, energy, and spiritual experience in this lifetime. These are very powerful invocations. I encourage you to listen to each one and decide if it's right for you to invoke. Once you decide if it's right for you, you'll have the opportunity to repeat in your heart and your mind the invocation. After the 33 commands, there will be 8 positive invocations and activations. It's important to repeat the ones that you desire to activate for yourself. No other being can fully activate you without your consent. Let's begin. Please repeat in your heart and your mind the following premise. For my highest good, I assert my sovereignty. Over my personal reality with the following commands. I do not consent to any forms of outside control over me. I do not consent to any form of manipulation. I do not consent to any form of oppression or repression. I do not consent to codependent or unhealthy relationships. I release them from my reality. I do not consent to physical abuse or harm. I do not consent to physical harm or illness through my food or water. I do not consent to physical harm through physical products in my reality. I do not consent to physical illness or poor health. I rescind, I revoke. I do not consent to mental abuse or harm. I do not consent to depression or hopelessness. I do not consent to anxiety. I command it to leave my body immediately. I do not consent to any mental illness. I rescind, I revoke. I do not consent to any form of fear. I rescind, I revoke. I do not consent to any form of disempowerment. I rescind, I revoke. I do not consent to any form of external spiritual control. I do not consent to receiving hatred or negative energy from any other being. I do not consent to poverty or the lack paradigm. I do not consent to the debtor-slaver paradigm. I do not consent to any form of enslavement. I do not consent to negative or stressful living situations. I do not consent to negative or stressful transportation. I do not consent to negative working environments. I do not consent to the identity of being poor or lower class. I do not consent to be without abundant financial means at all times. I revoke, I rescind. I do not consent to unwanted loneliness or being without my soul tribe. I consent to call them to me. I do not consent to any form of self-harm. I do not consent to negative self-talk. I do not consent to low self-worth. I do not consent to smallness or shrinking. I do not consent to any form of inauthenticity. I do not consent to any form of disempowerment. I do not consent to the fear band frequency. I release myself from it. I do not consent to perpetuating negative energy. I release it from my body now. And now, the positive invocations. Please repeat in your heart and your mind. I invoke a shield of light around me. I invoke my spirit team to help me in any way, shape, or form for my highest good. I invoke the power of my higher self. I activate my happiness codes. I activate my freedom codes in total. I activate my abundance codes in total. I activate my love codes in total. I invoke the power of my true self. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am.